Hello everyone, welcome back to Ratatouille, and apologies if I speak a little bit quieter than usual on this one. Just because it's kind of late when I'm recording this, I'm kind of tired and just kind of chilling out at home, so this is just sort of the mode that I'm in. But anyway, we're still exploring the kitchen area. I'm about to get my dick handed to me by Chef Skinner because this is a terrible hiding spot. I hate Skinner. I mean, obviously he's a very unlikable character, and you can count the number of pixels on that man's tuxedo on one hand. And Git is just standing there with the rope, just waiting for me. Just been waiting there for like 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure that I did a whole cooking session before I got up to him. After he started being in that pose. I definitely know how to say English sentences.
Never knew being a chef could be so complicated or dangerous.
And yeah, the dishwater hurts you. I think that's kind of stupid, honestly, but what do I know? They just need a reason that you can't swim in this game. That's all. Hey, but yeah, obviously, Skinner is not a likable guy in the movie or the game, because he's a big meanie and he's like a commercial hack chef that wants to make butthole American frozen versions of every Gusto thing or whatever, and tries to kill Remy. He's anti-rat, which is bad. It's racist against rats. Well, I mean, being anti-rat isn't a bad thing, IMO, but being anti-Remy is. And I don't think it's supposed to make that noise. I love that in video games where there's a little noise, but it freaks out, and so it makes the noise a million times. If that makes any sense. I also like Remy just holding the key. I don't know what I'm doing here when I keep stopping. I'm probably being talked to by Liv or something. Distracted by something. I like how it makes the same little squeaky sound effect from when you're slipping on ice or grease or whatever. I'm yawning. And yep, we got yet another cooking thing to do. So Git's just been standing there with the rope for 10 minutes. He's right there. There's just a rat standing there with a string tied around the doorknob, and everyone's just walking around him. It doesn't matter. And yeah, I fucked up a lot during this because, yeah, Liv was talking to me during this point. I remember I kept shitting the bed because I couldn't, think about what buttons I was pressing, and I don't know. This thing is it's too complicated for my shitty brain to be oh, I have to press A when it's correct, but when it's not correct, I press a different button. That is hard for my stupid baby brain. But I figured it out. It's fine. And, but you gotta be quick on this one, because we're doing the whole kit and caboodle now. All of the cooking. This person wants a soup, some, various platters that we just created, and some potatoes, and a cake. The classic staple of a French restaurant, gourmet restaurant. You never even make Ratatouille in this game. Like, that's not even, if I remember correctly, that's not even like that's not the last cooking minigame or anything, is you make the world's best Ratatouille. But that's the whole fucking point of the goddamn movie. I just can't believe it. Shit. I'm responding to a text message. I'm a great YouTuber. This is what happens when you just try to hold yourself to your self-imposed video schedule, just so you have some semblance of regularity and regiment in your life. Outside of work, obviously. But I was thinking about a point that I made, I think in the previous video, and Flustered Custard responded to it in the comments with a good point, that if I wasn't, like, brain dead when I was recording that one, I probably would have made, I think I might have got, because it was, like, in my head when I was saying it, but I didn't say it, because I was distracted by some other bullshit, but my previous point about movies from the 2000s, especially like the early to mid 2000s, feeling different than 2010s movies, feeling slower specifically. Custer pointed this out, and it is something that I've thought about a lot, which is that I think that phenomenon can be pointed directly to the advancement of new media technology, because I mean, when we think about what is different about the film form now from the 2000s, and there really isn't a whole lot, except that the number of avenues for watching video content and the amount of video content that the average person is consuming has jumped exponentially between the beginning of the 2000s and the beginning of the 2010s. I mean, even the 2000s, I mean, it's not like there was no internet. I mean, people were watching YouTube, and people were, you know, fucking downloading movies and whatnot. Netflix and Redbox have been things for a while, but just the sheer amount between streaming services and then YouTube has just expanded. I mean, I don't know if there's any data on, like, the number of videos uploaded between, like, in, like, 2008 versus 2018. I would imagine it's a lot more in 2018. I think certainly more things have been viewed in 2018, and YouTube is just altogether a much more massive and mainstream source of visual entertainment. And I think, honestly, like, you know, much like how, I don't know why I keep pausing, but whatever. Who cares? It was in the past. Much like how in the 80s, when MTV came on the scene and young people were watching a lot of music videos and, you know, the other programming that was on MTV at the time, and as well as the 80s was the sort of, like, cementing of the notion of the fast-paced Hollywood blockbuster, like pastiche Hollywood blockbuster that Star Wars and Jaws sort of created in the 70s. The modern notion of the tentpole franchise blockbuster that we still recognize today. A confluence of that and stuff like MTV, it was literally, you know, there were more cuts, there were more shots in the average movie than before. So, you know, and, you know, the 80s was also a huge period of, expansion of the consumer market and of the media market. That's when HBO and like pay-per-view TV became a big thing. And like cable TV, 24-hour news. So just the 80s, you start to see a really stark difference in the rhythm and speed and feeling of movies from the 80s and 90s versus like the 60s to early 70s and before that, obviously, because the not only the actual like speed of the editing of the content people were watching, of the visual, I want to use a word other than content because that's like a very social media advertisey word now, but you know what I mean. Material, whatever, visual material that people were consuming, that was getting faster, but also just the amount and the accessibility of it. You were watching whole movies in your home. You could watch them on video for the first time. You could watch the news all fucking day, even if nothing was going on, because they would just fill it with shit. And I think in the 2000s to 2010s, we've experienced a sort of exponentially larger version of that, where, I mean, we're literally scrolling. I think scrolling through your phone has an impact on your psychology. It's a lot of different visual information whipping by your eyes, and you're taking it in and going from feeling to feeling and thought to thought extremely quickly. And, YouTube online content is much more quick and, fast-paced, fast cuts. There's a whole ton of it. You can switch from one to the other really quickly. And so I've found that movies, the best way I can describe it is that movies don't feel like they use their time to like, they don't want to take their time, and they don't want to use their time to really like, I'm trying to find a way to word this where like the use of the passage of time, the use of time and space in the movie, and this isn't like, I'm not trying to make blanket statements about all movies or anything like that. I'm just saying as a general trend of of what average people are consuming. They're much quicker. There's much less like deliberateness in how much time is devoted to each scene, if that makes any sense. Just how I feel about it. And I'm really, like, this is just a thing that I've kind of just been thinking about. It's nothing that I've thought deeply and, like, really formed a super cogent argument or explanation of yet. Hopefully one day I will, but it's just something that I've been mulling around, especially after I said that thing in the last video and Custard left that comment. Yeah, the other reason I hate Skinner is I hate how he looks. I don't like his ears or his facial hair and lips. I'm not a fan of him. Not a fan of it. I mean, he's designed fine. It's not like, a badly designed character. He just is ugly. I don't like him. I don't like how he looks, which is probably how I'm supposed to feel about him, because he's the fucking villain and he sucks. I think I do kind of shitty on this slide in terms of, like, there you go, but in terms of, like, not keeping up the momentum, which is always, as I've complained about before, it really kills my vibe when I'm going real quick and then I shit the bed and I miss it. I recommend, it's very easy to fly off those parts with these really narrow ones, so I recommend, pointing the control stick in the opposite direction so that Remy, like, pulls himself up and slows down a little bit, because you really can't... You need the speed to go down the slide correctly, but you can't be at full speed or you're not going to be able to make the turn well enough. And I was so pissed that I hit that fan. I was like, I wanted to zip through these, but like I said, just totally killed my vibe. And I'm trying to vibe when I play Ratatouille. And this one of the top reasons to play it is because it's vibes. But anyway, yeah, so I think you get where I was going with it, and it's a point, again, that I'd like to think more about and have more of a, I don't want to say authority in my voice, but, like, I don't know, I want to have some examples and be able to, like, base it in something and word it better than I am right here, but hopefully you at least get, you know, smell what I'm stepping in. But, yeah. And that was definitely one of those where I could have gotten every star in the first run, but I just really suck dick at the game. And oh yeah, that little bar is filling up. When it when the yellow unfilled part of the health bar is like that, at the way it is now, it looks like a macaroni. But anyway, that was the kitchen level, and now we're back in the shit house that we live in. It's very easy to just fall off of these and die. It sucks. So yeah, I do a little bit of exploring here, but we're basically at the end of the video. But let me know what you think of that concept. Again, it's just something that I've been thinking about quite a bit lately, because I mean the MTV thing and everything, that's like a demonstrated thing that, you know, that era the changes to media in that era had an effect on people's perception of time, and that affects what kinds of movies they do. And I mean, now, to this day, movies have more cuts than they did 40 years ago because we're just used to it. Our brains are used to processing more visual information faster, and I feel like a generation that grows up in the new media landscape that we're in now, it'll only be more so. Anyway, more shit in the next one. See you then for the city market. Man, I'm the best at ending videos, aren't I?